I want to talk to you today about an inventory. Businesses do inventories on a regular basis to find out what goods they have in their inventory that they need to dispose of and what goods that are moving quickly so they can order more. This kind of inventory is a personal inventory. This is something that I've done several times. The first time I ever did an inventory was when I was 26 years old. Today I'm 60. And I've learned a lot about myself by doing these inventories. Now we're basically going to talk about 4 different areas of our lives that we want to do an inventory on. The first one is the first one will be, who are you mad at and why? Are you mad at people in your family? Are you mad at ex-friends? Are you mad at co-workers? Who are you mad at and why? Just take a piece of paper and a pen and write down the name of the person you're mad at and why. After you get this done, this long list, and go as far back in your life as you can possibly remember. If you were mad at your babysitter when you were 3 years old, write it down and why. If you were mad at the IRS because they take too much money out of your check, write it down. If you're mad at a doctor that one time told you you couldn't overcome an illness, write it down. Whoever you're mad at, write it down. Their name and why you're mad at them. The second part of this is who's mad at you and why. Now, I don't know all the people that are mad at me, but I do know some people that are mad at me, and I can probably guess why. So write down who's mad at me and why. So the first step is who's mad at you, the first step is who you're mad at and why, and the second part of this is who's mad at you and why. Now the next step of this 4-part is part 2 would be fear. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of getting sick? Are you afraid of being a failure in life? Are you afraid of not achieving your goals? Are you afraid of looking foolish? What are you afraid of? Write down your fears, all the things that you're afraid of. Just put them on a piece of paper. The next part is sex. Your sex life or your non-sex life. Write down on paper your sex life. When it started, what kind of problems you've had. Were there unwanted or unplanned pregnancies? Was there sexual problems? Did someone take advantage of you? Did someone molest you? Have you molested somebody? Write down all of your sex life, the good and the bad. If you've had venereal diseases, write it down. If you got caught masturbating by your mom, write it down. If it was an embarrassing situation, write down your sex life. Now the 4th part is your secrets. Your deepest, darkest secrets, things you don't want anybody to know about, write them down. Now you can use a code, you can write these down in code, but write it down. So basically we're looking at 4 different areas. Number 1, who are you mad at and why, and who's mad at you? Number 2 are your fears. Number 3 is your sex life or non-sex life. And number 5 are your deepest, darkest secrets. Now that you've got an inventory, look over it. And what you'll find is you're probably not as bad a person as you thought you were. Once we get it down on paper, it becomes logical and it's not all emotional. Now, what are we going to do with that inventory? One of the things that the Catholic faith does is they do confession. I would recommend you find someone, whether it's a psychiatrist or it's a spiritual leader, somebody that really understands the importance of confession, and they will listen to what you have to say. I would recommend that you just read it to them. You sit down, confidential, they assure you that they're going to be confident. I would not do this with a best friend necessarily. I would do this with somebody that has heard confessions before. And sit down with that person and just share it with them. Totally share everything on the paper. And the way I like to do it is just read everything I've got written down, and then afterwards, after I've read everything, if there's something I want to elaborate on, I will. And some of the fears that we have, and some of the resentments that we have. Now the next step for me is that I pray that I start moving in the direction that I really want to move into. A personal inventory. How many people go through life without ever doing an inventory to see if they're on track or off track? and how much time we spend reliving experiences in our mind that create a lot of shame and guilt and remorse. The personal inventory is a step on taking the right direction to build personal character, integrity, to make decisions based on our values. So I hope that you take the time to write out an inventory. This is for you. And if you don't ever want to share it with someone else, that's okay. But I find it's very, very important for me to share it with somebody that I can trust, so that I can just kind of like clean the chalkboard. When I'm writing all this stuff down, I just imagine it going on a chalkboard, and when I sit down with someone else and I confess this, it's just like everything is taken off the chalkboard one at a time. And when I get totally done with the confession, my chalkboard is clean, and I can now start a fresh life from that point on, and I can move forward. And one of the greatest things about doing a personal inventory and about sharing it with someone else, it puts us in a position of humility and compassion. And one of the greatest things that we can do is to listen to someone else's confession. I take this as a very sacred, very important step in our lives of character development. And so whenever I get the opportunity to listen to someone's confession, I'm really honored that they would trust me, and I keep it totally confidential. I don't even want people to know whose confessions that I'm listening to at the time. And sometimes a confession can take 2 to 3, 4 hours, and that's just wonderful to be able to participate in someone's life at that deep level. So consider doing a personal inventory. Consider doing a confession with someone that you trust. Thank you very much, and if you like this video, push the like button there and let others know that you like this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be sure to like this video. We really need you to like the video. That lets us know if we're on the right track. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. There are over 79 other videos that I've put together to help us to become successful. Success is achieving worthwhile goals, to help you to achieve the goals that you want to have in life. By really, this is not just theory, this is by actions that I've taken in order to become successful. If you take action, you can become successful. Thank you very much for watching.